First thing in the morning, you look at the mirror. What do you say? I used to say, "Hello, handsome." But lately, I found myself saying, "Ay, ay, ay." Every day, I look more like my grandpa. You may like what you see in the mirror, or you may not. But somehow you recognize that image as you. Mr. Contest Chair, ladies and gentlemen, how do you recognize yourself? What is your identity? This is important because the way you define yourself affects the way that you relate to the others. I used to think I had a very solid identity. I was a Mexican man in a quest to conquer the world. So I moved to France. Everything was going according to plan. Until last year, 3 events made me ask, who is this person I call myself? Hello? Have we met before? I called the first event, Meeting Your Ancestors. One day, as I was surfing the internet, I read an article that said, if your last name is in this list, then you are likely to be a descendant of one of the Jewish Sephardic families that were expelled from Spain back in the 15th century. And today, you could be a candidate to the Spanish nationality. Well, I opened the list. To my surprise, my father's family name, Meza, was in the list. Is there some Jewish blood mingled with my Mexican blood? Is that the reason why I love so much the fiddler on the roof? Is it okay from now on to put guacamole in my falafel? Call me crazy, but ever since reading that article, I started to feel much closer to my Jewish side. Then the second event happened, which I call Cellular Biology 101. I had a conversation with my friend Julien, who is a French biologist. And he told me, Antonio, from the point of view of biology, the whole question about your identity doesn't make any sense. Your cells reproduce and die. And it takes to your body 7 years to entirely regenerate. So you could say that after 7 years, you are now a different person than you used to be 7 years before. I've been living in France for 11 years. And through all this time, the cells of my body have been regenerating using protein coming directly from croissant, soupe à l'oignon, and ratatouille. Does it mean that, biologically speaking, I am already French? Call me crazy, but ever since speaking with Julien, I started to feel much closer to my French side. And then the third event happened, which I call tying the knot. Because yes, last year I got married. And my beautiful wife is German. Well, her dad is Hungarian, so she's part German and part Hungarian. Call me crazy, but ever since getting married, I started to feel much, much closer to my new Hungarian and German side. It's like a new family. Now imagine that one day we actually have kids. What am I supposed to tell them? Dear son, dear daughter, you are part Mexican, which means part Spanish and part Aztec, and with Jewish ancestry. You are also part German and part Hungarian, and born in France. I think that my kids are going to need at least 4 passports and a good therapist. It turned out that the one needing a good therapist was me. Because after all these events, I started to feel quite lost. what I thought it was a very solid identity started to dilute. On one hand, I was feeling much closer to a lot of people that before were just the others. And on the other hand, I was feeling farther away from my own homeland and Mexican culture. Who can I call my people? Do I have to renounce who I am in order to embrace who I am becoming? How do you define your identity? A few weeks later, I attended a personal development seminar offered by my friend Robert from California. And during this seminar, Robert proposed this exercise. You look another person in the eyes and you say, I see you. I can see your strength. I can see your fragility. And I know that you are much more than that. When Robert proposed this exercise, I honestly thought that it was just California wishy-washy hippie stuff. But when my partner in the exercise said those words to me, call me crazy, but I felt much closer to myself. Finally, I didn't have to know who I am. I could just recognize myself in the eyes of the other. And those eyes became the mirror where I could see myself, my origins, and my potential. And I could embrace it all. I can be more, and that's okay. First thing in the morning, you look at the mirror. What do you say? I say that you are much more than the color of your skin, the borders of your country, or the genetic recipe of your blood. So tomorrow, when you look at yourself in the mirror, try saying, hello there. I see you. I can see your strength. I can see your fragility. And I know that you are much more than that.